what I'm saying. I think human instinct is in us sometimes to do that. That I
Right.
don't think that you have when you're in those type of situations. I praise God, I've never been in those type of situations, and pray I never will for the rest of my life. But when you in those situations in which you're around trauma, like I said, the I don't know if you remember, um the guy in the Waffle House. I forgot what city it was in, where he just jumped on that guy just came out shooting, and
Angry
he
black.
jumped on him, and they asked him like, "Dude, why did you do that? You could have been badly hurt." He was like, "I don't know why I did that."
Ty, your sons are going to step for you 10 out of 10 times. But I bet you if you ask your sons today, I bet you especially if you ask your oldest, I bet you if you tell them that you are having a conversation with a young man his age, and even your younger one, even your 21-year-old, I bet you they'll echo the same sentiments that I bet you they'll echo the same sentiments that I'm telling you right now. You in Charlotte. I'm in Minneapolis. We in major metropolitan cities. Like,
Hmm.
they've seen certain things.
Right.
If both of your sons was on here right now, they wouldn't be looking at me like I was crazy. No matter how their mom raised them. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, like, do you want to be saying, "Oh, my son stepped in for some black woman," and do you want to be at a funeral saying, "My son stepped in for some black woman that he
No, but I'm telling you that we listen to. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying there are situations in which they may that it's not a thing in which you're thinking it through, and you too, sir, may. You don't know because you haven't been in that situation. There are some situations if you see something, as again I keep saying, the guy in the Waffle House. They asked him, "Why did you do that? You could have been killed." He went in there and saved the lives of like 20 people. And he was like, "I don't know why I did what I did." So that's what I'm saying. In those, but again, I agree with you when you said, like, I don't want anybody, male or female, to get in. If I see like my girlfriend getting into it with a stranger, yeah, of course I'm gonna step in because that's my friend. But if I just see a random chick on the street and no, I'm not, because I have time to think that through. But I'm talking about situations you or I or my children haven't been in yet. You don't know. You may just, you, that's what I'm saying. That human instinct, you may just be like, oh, like, and then we don't know.
Miss Ty is I guess there is some good in um you know I guess there is some, I don't know, respect in being a dead hero, but I'm not gonna be a dead hero, Miss Ty. I am not gonna be a dead hero. I'm not gonna encourage any of my black brothers to be a dead hero. And that's including your sons. I'm not gonna encourage them to be a dead hero. It's not worth it at the end of the day. Like, life is very much more important than trying to put on a heroic act that you don't need to put on.
No, I don't think it's that though. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. I don't think it's that people who have done these things are thinking it through. Like I keep bringing up the guy at the Waffle House. They interview that guy over and over, and they was like, "What were you thinking? You should have just waited on the police to call, took cover." He said, "I don't know. I don't know what happened." And I'm saying, with the study of psychology, that there is something within us. There is something built within all of us that we respond, the adrenaline rush when we're in traumatic situations, the adrenaline rush to our body, and we don't think and we don't know consciously. Your conscious effort is not to do that. Like, yeah, but when you become a rush with adrenaline and you're in those type of situations, You may, sir. That's what I'm saying. You may end up and I don't want my sons to do that. I pray they're never in those type of situations. But I'm telling you, in us as human beings, when things happen to us, adrenaline comes into our body and takes over, and there is no thought. There is no thought about what you just do, and you don't think it through.
Okay,
That's
so
what
so
I'm saying.
okay, so you being in psychology, that's not a good thing, right? That's not, because that's no different than that's no different than that's no different than being impulsive. That's no different than acting off emotion. That's no different than acting irrationally. So
Yes, it
if
is.
you
It's
want a job,
different. It's
how
different. It's
how is it
it's
how
totally
no
different.
okay, if someone is on a job and they're not, I don't know, they don't feel very, they did someone sent them a message, an email that they didn't think was the most, they don't think they're being spoken to in the most respectful way. That doesn't mean you supposed to just blow up and start
Different.
causing a ruckus. And we might have to disagree on this, because I don't
Because you
think
need look, what I'm
I
saying
don't think it's
is
okay.
in
I don't
traumatic, your
I don't
body,
think it's okay.
your body does something different when trauma is involved. When you're in a traumatic situation, you do not respond with thought or behavior. Impulsive Impulsiveness comes with thought and behavior. It comes with an antecedent and then a precedent. When if you're irrational, that comes with an antecedent and a precedent. An antecedent is what's going on before the behavior. A precedent is this is the consequence of the behavior. I'm saying that when you're in traumatic situations, when you're in trauma, there is something that's in us, innate in us, built in us, that when once we go into trauma and the adrenaline comes into our body, and we're locked in a car, but I'm able to pick up a whole truck and flip it over because I have adrenaline and there is no thought. You're speaking of situations in which trauma is not involved. When trauma is not involved, as I stated, and you can think it through, then no, I absolutely agree. Do not get involved. But I can't say, with the knowledge that I have, the study that I have, I can't say that my sons, you, or anybody will not get involved when trauma has to play. When you're in trauma, your whole psyche, your whole being changes. Everything about you changes once you're placed in trauma. It ain't no think through. That's why I keep saying, when you talk to people who have been in those situations and you interview them, they will tell you, I didn't think. I didn't think it through. I didn't have time to think it through. I reacted. The body reacts when it's in trauma. It's not a thought through.
Miss Ty, is trauma not subjective? Because and before you answer, I ask, is
It
trauma,
is.
okay, so if it's subjective, then there may be, so we got man A, we got man B.
Right. So
Man
you're going
A,
to have different reactions. Yeah.
okay,
Because
right, so
trauma is subjective. What's
right,
traumatic to me may not be traumatic to you. And that's why you see some people run and you see some people try to attack the intruder because
okay.
the trauma is different.
Right. So again, okay. So right. So man A might see it, and he might actually think to himself that, this might cost me my life. So I don't want to get involved. And like you say, man B, it may be so traumatic to the point to where he may not think at all and go put his life at risk. So okay, so if you say, like, yeah, there's no way to really tell how somebody will react, then okay, I can agree with you on that. Then, me personally, I'm 99.9% sure that I'm going to think about the future and not put myself in harm's way, not jump in a fire that I don't need to jump into. I'm 99.9% sure. As I'm talking to you today, I'm 99.9% sure. Unless it's my mother or one of my sisters, I'm not. I'm 99.9% sure I'm not going to directly get involved. If I do get involved, I'm more so than not going to contact authority to handle the situation, or alert other people around. But I'm definitely not getting involved.
Gotcha. I understand that. I'm sorry, my thing wouldn't unmute. I was talking and it
It's,
wasn't. It didn't unmute.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, man. Yeah, man. This whole well, but Miss Ty, what do you think about just what's going on the internet right now with black men and black women? Like I said, I don't believe there's any gender war going on at all. Black men, black men are marrying black women. For the small percentage of us, the 20 something% of us that are getting married. Uh, we're primarily getting married to each other. We're dating each other. We're procreating with each other. All these black women that are having babies out of wedlock, they're having these babies out of wedlock with black men. So, like I said, I don't believe there's any gender war going on. Certain stuff is just very popular to talk about right now. It's good for conversation. It's good for content, but I don't think there's a bunch of black men disliking black women. I don't think there's a bunch of black women disliking black men.
Um, I really ain't. I really haven't given too deep a thought into that because I still think that that too is based on perspective, and I don't think that I think some people, it's a catchy topic. So, you get a lot of views and you get a lot of likes, if you're massaging the ego of a black male, or if you're massaging the ego of a black woman, then you're gonna depend on the subject, you're gonna get a lot of likes and a lot of views based on that. I do though think that there is a epidemic in our community in which there is a divide in the meeting of minds between uh, black women and men. I would say particularly again generations. When I say generations, I'm talking about you are in a different generation than I, because you're my
Mm-hmm.
son's age. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how some people say a generation is a decade. I never heard that a generation is a decade. I thought a generation is like, you have my mom generation, then you have me, and then you have my kids generation, which would be the generation you're in. But some people say no, every 10 years is a new generation. So I went ahead and defined what I'm saying, what is generation. So I think that the generation below me, it is there is a divide, as Quest was saying, that they don't view men, black men. I don't think they view men any particular the same way that I do. Me myself grew up in a time, again, I we weren't taught you don't need a man and you're independent. My
Mm-hmm.
mama taught me God put them here for you. Like you are supposed to let a man do the things that God put him here to do. And one of those
Mm-hmm.
things is to protect you. One of those things is to, secure you. So like I wasn't taught that stuff that, my kids' generation, because my sons was like, "Ma, ain't no women out here, dog. Ain't no women like you and Auntie Wani. Ain't no women like y'all no more. These girls out here, they don't want a man to take care of them." And I remember my hairdresser in Mississippi. She's 23, and she was like talking to her friends and the girls that were coming in. They were in their 20s also, and she was talking to them, and they was like, "Y'all, these let me tell you about these men in Mississippi. These men in Mississippi, they just want to take care of you." And I looked at them, I said, "Y'all, what's wrong with that? What is really wrong with a man wanting?" I said, "Y'all, whatever water y'all drinking, stop drinking it." I said, "A man is supposed to desire to provide, to take care of you. Now I want my own coins. I want my own coins." I said, "I work. There's nothing wrong with having your own coins." I said, "But my husband doesn't require me to take care of his household. He pays mortgage. He pays lights. He pays water. He pays whatever he would need to stay in this house. He pays whatever he needs to stay here. Now, I buy my wigs. I buy my jewelry. I get my nails done. I do all of that. But I'm not leaving my dad's home in which I paid no bills. I didn't take care of a man. My dad footed everything in that home as far as basic necessity. So why would I leave that home to come to a home in which now I have to provide basic necessity? Then I don't need a husband. A husband is supposed to provide your basic necessity. That because if I was to die or if I was still in childbearing years, then I couldn't provide mortgage. I couldn't provide lights. I couldn't provide water. So he would have to do those things. So there's nothing wrong with a man providing basic necessity. Now, I don't have to go to my husband. Now, he does. I mean, he still gives me money, but I don't have to go to him to get my hair done. I don't have to go to him to get my nails done. If I want to go shopping, I don't have to go to him for that. Now, we do have a savings account in which I pay for the vacations and stuff like that. So it's an equal meet. He works to provide the necessities. I work to provide the things we want. I mean, I was like, what's wrong with that? Like, you want that from a man. Then, it's just coming. I think that, in you all's time, I mean, the women are being raised by single mothers, and so my mother was a single mother, but again, the generation and stuff has changed in which they all about career, and that's why less of us are married, because we're raised to focus on our career and not family. So that's why black women, we go to school first, we follow our career path, and then we think about getting married, where other cultures, they speak about marriage early on, and you marry and get in your career at the same time. But black women are taught to follow their dream first and then marry, and I think that's why less of us are married now.
Do you think the modern black woman is interested in building with a black man though?
No.
And I don't. Okay, thank you,
No.
thank you.
No, no,
Because
no.
because 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 I can tell you, you know, and you should if you get a chance, Miss Ty, when we get off here, like this is my backup page. Um
Okay.
my main page is the same the same username without backup on it. It's a bigger page, but
Mhm.
I've had countless women tell me on here, the woman that I communicate with on here, that I communicate with off of here, they echo the
Mhm.
same sentiment to me. The women that aren't on here that I communicate with, they
Mhm.
tell me, we've seen what our moms went through. We've seen what our aunties and our grandmothers went through. We're not going to go through the same thing.
Mhm.
They say that when you build with a man, when he finally gets to where he's trying to get to, or he gets to that point where y'all want him to be, he ends up leaving that woman he ends up cheating on her. He ends up leaving her for a younger woman, for better looking woman. They say that, the woman that they start off with isn't more so the woman that they end with. They say all these men talk about, wanting a woman to be a ride or die, but the woman that actually rides or dies is the woman that they end up leaving, the woman that they end up shitting on. So they're like, we not building with no man. We gon' he either
Well,
needs
that's
to be
not
fully
true.
established already.
That's but I have to like that's what I'm saying. There is a different there is a different speaking point, or I can't find my words tonight. There's a different speaking point when it comes to the generation below me. Like their whole conversation is similar to what I hear is similar to what you're saying, and I'm saying you all, that's not true. Look at I mean, there's many people. I can even go to Hollywood. Ice Cube and his wife, Denzel Washington and his wife, Snoop Dogg
Miss
and his
Ty,
wife. So,
Miss Ty,
huh?
Miss Miss Ty, we can point out again when we and I be having these conversations. Most of the time, a lot of these women like to talk about their own personal situations or try to minimize it to, like, their circle. But we can't talk about anomalies. Like, there's exceptions and there's rules, Miss Ty. The exception is not the rule. So if something is if one thing is mostly happening, if most of these black women are saying the same thing, we can't just focus on the small minority that aren't saying the same thing or moving in the opposite manner. So
But I'm
like,
saying what they're saying is not. It's not true. It's not true because you can't say that the reason why I say it's not true, some of the women that are saying this is not even old enough to come to that conclusion. You're not old enough yet to conclude that, because I'm 40. So I know if you're in your 20s, you can't possibly be old enough to conclude that this happens most of the time. You haven't been here long enough to have that. You haven't been here long enough. So you can't say that, you know, I would say I would want to hear from women my age or older, because we've been here almost um 50 years. So in 50 years time, you can make a conclusion based on what you have seen in your experiences, from past. But 20-year olds, sweetheart, you're not old enough to have a past to understand anything yet when it comes to you. That's all I'm saying. Like, you can't conclude that
So, Miss
just
Ty.
because that happened in your family, that's the way it is in the world. That's your family is not the world, and how it
Mhm.
happens that's not how it happens in a world outside of yours.